Here we go. Episode 47 of the Hardline Sports Talk. I am Michael Merlo, joined by John Michael Masiri. JM, how are we doing tonight?
I am doing great. Got some finals done. Schoolwork starting to settle down a little bit.
Thank
Got
God.
one more test to go, and then Christmas break.
I'm out in a week. Done in a week from today. Well, Tuesday, so a week from. I'm excited, very excited. There's a lot to get to, a ton to get to in three different sports today. We got a little basketball for you. We're going to do a list of first baseman top 10. Very excited about that. And of course, the NFL, which gets crazier and crazier each week. And they added a week. And they added a playoff team last year. So, it's more stress for people to handle.
Have you seen the Christmas games? I looked at them today, and for some reason, I thought Christmas was on a Sunday this year. I don't know why, but I was just like assuming it was on a Sunday.
It's on a Saturday or
Friday, it's on a Saturday. Yeah. Browns Packers 4:30.
Right.
If that, preseason, that's a hell of a game. It'll still be a good game, but Browns, whatever. I'm not crazy about them. But then Colts Cardinals at night. I like that.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's a good game right there.
I didn't look at the Christmas games yet. I was looking at the Saturday games for this week. We got Saturday games this Saturday.
Yep.
We got Raiders, Browns, and Pats Colts.
Yeah.
So, but that Colts Cardinals game is very interesting.
Yeah. I like Pats Colts this weekend too. That's a good game.
It's a very good game. We'll get to that in a minute. I do want to start with the NFC because the NFC, like we said, before we even started, it's the story right now. You got the elite teams in the NFC. Right. And, wherever we want to start, we can go Packers, Cardinals, Cowboys, Bucks, Rams, or, all great storylines. But where do you want to go? Let's go Cardinals because they did play the Monday night game on Monday night. And they did lose to the Los Angeles Rams, which was a big win for the Rams. I think it meant more to the Rams because of just what they've been dealing with. I mean, they're dealing with a bunch of COVID issues right now. And even before the game, they lost Ramsey before the game. But, there was a lot of people saying they're frauds, including myself. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really a believer in them. They haven't beaten anybody good. And they go to Arizona and beat, at the time, the number 1 seed in the NFC. And then they looked really good last night.
Yeah, the Rams looked really good last night. The Cardinals, I got to say, this isn't an overreaction from the game against the Rams. I mean, the Rams are a hell of a team. Cardinals didn't play their best football. I don't think this Cardinals team gets past the divisional round, if not the wild card round, depending on the seeding this year. They're a very good team. I'm not meaning to put them down at all, but the NFC is loaded, and I just think the Cardinals are going to fall short a little bit when it comes to experience. They got Cliff Kingsbury. They got a young quarterback, and I just see them maybe fizzling off a little bit and that spark not really shining anymore. I could see. I'll tell you right off the bat, we're going to come out with our NFL power rankings later in the week. I'll tell you right now, I won't have them in the top 2 for sure. I'll have the Packers and the Bucks over them easily and then sort it out with any other AFC teams or whatnot. But the Cardinals, they might still win this division. They're 10-3. The Bucks are not. I mean, the Rams are 9-4. But I think I like the Rams better to make a little more noise in the postseason than I do the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's weird because nobody was believing in the Cardinals, but they had a few impressive wins, especially with their starting quarterback out. They even won a game without their head coach and a couple of other coaches when they went to Cleveland. So they've been impressive, but yeah, I don't buy him as much, and I don't know why. It might just be because I don't know enough about them. Right. I think the inexperience has something to do with it. Yeah,
they're a new team, exactly. A lot of new faces.
And Cliff Kingsbury has done a fantastic job. I mean, you can't put him down at all for what he's done. But you might be right about that. The inexperience might be able to keep him out here.
What's concerning, they have I believe they're 3-3 at home now, and they have like 11 turnovers or something like that this year.
They're not good at home.
They're 7-0 on the road, which is like, if you're a good road team, you're like, oh, that's great, but not when you're a bad or mediocre home team. So they're most likely going to have a couple home games in the playoffs. And if you're not playing well at home, then that's not good.
So what is it? So it's 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, and then it's 1 versus the worst team.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I mean, right now they're the 2 seed, right? They
Yeah.
lost to the
They'd be
Packers.
playing Washington right now, which I think they would win that game. That's why I said I think they get to the divisional round, maybe the wild, like they don't get past maybe the wild card round. It depends on who they play. If I'll tell you, if they were the 4 seed and they were playing, who's the 5 seed right now? New
right
Orleans?
now it'd be the Rams.
Oh, the Rams. Right. There you go. The Rams, I think they win that game.
JJ Watt's out for the year, right?
Yep.
And DeAndre Hopkins has always really been injured. He's injured, he's banged up all the time. He's banged up this year. Kyler Murray's been banged up. Their offensive line isn't great. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me that they do get to the other team's quarterback though, which is impressive. But there's nothing that they do where you're like, wow, they are just the best at this. I mean, they got an ultra talented quarterback, obviously Kyler Murray, and I'm the biggest Kyler Murray fan out there. But I'm with you here that they don't do it for me in the playoffs. But the Rams, they do, because you see the talent. You see the talent with Matt Stafford when he's on. And, it felt like Matt Stafford was in a little bit of a funk the past, month and a half, really, before the Jacksonville game. For about a month and a half, he was not playing well. He's been banged up, they say. But I don't buy that. If he's not on the injury report, then he's not banged up. But yeah, I think the Rams here give me more. Their offensive line's playing a little better. They can run the ball. They've got weapons all over the place. They've probably got the 1 or 2 best receiver in football this season. It's not even close. And that guy is so talented.
Cooper Kupp's amazing, but OBJ, like maybe he was right when we were talking about Baker and all that drama with, his dad blaming Baker Mayfield or whatever. He's looked pretty damn good since he's gotten to LA. I mean, he scored 3 touchdowns in 3 straight games, had over 50, 60 yards, whatever he had on Monday night. He's looked pretty good.
Both things can be true, right? But like maybe he was not playing his best in Cleveland, right, and he was dealing with injuries, but also the quarterback play wasn't as great, and maybe the system wasn't right for him.
Yep.
With Sean McVay, receivers, he gets his receivers involved. He gets everybody involved. And look at Van Jefferson. He's been great. And, maybe OBJ was right. I don't know. I'm happy for OBJ. I see that last night. A little smile on my face. Good for him.
Yeah.
He did nothing wrong to me.
I'm trying to
as
see.
a diehard Giants fan.
It's so hard to find stats for offensive linemen. Because I don't have a Pro Football Focus subscription or whatever. But I was trying to see what's going on with the Cardinals offensive line, because it didn't. I mean, listen, anytime you're going up against that front 7 of LA, it's going to be a tough game for you. But Kyler Murray was running around for his life, especially in the second half yesterday, which is a concern, because you brought up the Bucs. And, we talk about the Packers and even the Rams. Those teams have, especially the Bucs. The Bucs are a prime example of having a very good offensive line, a very good defensive line, especially the offensive line. And, that's going to get you far in the playoffs. The Packers, their offensive line's been a little banged up, but even with the injuries, it's been pretty good.
Staying up.
They're expecting to get Bakhtiari back. Unfortunately, Elton Jenkins is out for the year. And then, LA, we know they got a couple good guys there on that offensive line. Then that front 7 is dynamite. So I know the Cardinals have a good D line and everything, but it concerns you with that offensive line, because Kyler Murray seems to get very frantic and starts running around, and he has the ability, obviously, of the escapability, but you want to keep your quarterback in a clean pocket and give him time to throw. And if you can't do that, then you're not going very far.
Mobile guys like that too, they can create their own pressure as well. What I mean by that is maybe they're rolling out and they roll out the wrong way, and that's not the way the offensive lineman was blocking, and then they get credited for the sack when it really wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray is like that. You take that though, because of how athletic and his escapability. You take that risk, but you're right. We say it all the time. Football is pretty simple. You have a good offensive line, you have a good defensive line, you're most likely going far. And all these teams that we talk about, the elite teams right now we're talking about, I mean, Dallas, Tampa Bay, the Rams, the Packers, all do that very well, especially. Well, I'll save it when we get to the Cowboys, because they were very impressive on Sunday.
Yeah.
But you're 100% right. And the Rams we know the Rams have the weapons. They built the team the right way. Leonard Floyd had 2 picks yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And he's been playing well. He's
Yeah.
been a beast for them. They just gave him a big contract. He's been good for them. So the Giants wanted him badly, but he ended up staying there. I remember that. They also wanted him in the
From
draft.
Chicago. He came from the Bears, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been very good. All right, let's move over to the Cowboys. I teased it for like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, nice.
Because the Cowboys, to me, are impressive for one reason right now, and a reason that nobody really expected, I don't think, coming into the year, and that's their defensive line.
Yeah.
Yesterday was the first time since week 1 that Dexter Lawrence, I always do that, DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, and Randy Gregory all played at the same time. And did you see what they did to Taylor Heineke and the Washington football team?
That was pretty scary.
I mean, he took a beating, and somebody else, one of their defensive tackles too. They got healthy all over the defensive line. Mm-hmm. Randy Gregory, who has been underrated, he's been underrated a little bit. He's been great. He's been effective for them. DeMarcus Lawrence has been a very good pass rusher for a while. And Micah Parsons, I don't want to believe in this hype, but I am. I think he's the defensive player of the year.
I think he definitely deserves his name thrown in the conversation. I don't think he is personally. I think it's either TJ Watt or Myles Garrett. But yeah, he is no doubt defensive player of the year, unanimous, easy.
Rookie of the year.
That defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, Jerry Jones hit on that draft pick, and Micah Parsons, who was somebody I didn't really know about, to be honest, coming into the year. He sat out last year. He came into the draft as a linebacker. When you hear that, I usually think he's a Mike Will linebacker, whatever he is, right. But he's a hell of a pass rusher. I mean, what does he have? 12.5 sacks, something like that.
He has 12 sacks, and he's ranked 99th in total rushes.
Yeah, and he is just beating up offensive linemen week after week, making big plays, forcing fumbles, whatever. So yeah, I wouldn't say he's the defensive player of the year, but he definitely deserves to be in the conversation.
I don't know if you remember, but I was like, I picked him. Like I loved him. He was my guy in this draft.
Yeah.
But I was with you with one thing. I didn't know how and I knew he rushed the passer a little bit. I didn't think this much,
right,
or this effectively, but I didn't know if his size would be able to translate to the NFL game. And obviously, everybody was wrong if you thought differently. He has been phenomenal. He's so quick. He's so strong. And one of my friends that's a Cowboys fan, you know how Cowboy fans are. They like to overreact to things. And he said to me, he goes, I think you guys passed on the next LT.
Oh, my God. Oh.
And you watch him week to week, and you're like, please don't let this be true. God, right. Please don't let this be true. But every week goes by, this guy is more dominant. I mean, if he rushed the passer, if he just rushed the passer, he would have about 20 sacks right now.
Yeah.
And if he just played linebacker, he'd be unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
He almost had an interception in that game too.
He's a stud. He's just like a freak athlete. Can play any position. He has like positional flexibility too. I'm sure if you put him at freaking safety, he could probably do a pretty good job.
I think that he could be better than Jamal Adams. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think I could be better than Jamal Adams at this point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at the numbers. I mean, TJ Watt, I think the only thing that might hurt him is, he hasn't played enough games. He missed 2 games or whatever, but
got hurt last week.
He leads the NFL in sacks. Which is, to me, that makes it even more impressive that this guy leads the NFL in sacks and he missed 2.5 games. So.
And Myles Garrett's been fantastic. Nick Bosa is not talked about enough. He's been fantastic.
He had a hell of a game the other day, Nick Bosa.
He is so good. And Joey Bosa, I think your brother was telling me Joey Bosa's having a great year too. And that even flew right over my head. I didn't even see that.
How about the genes in that family?
Oh my God. Imagine that.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Their job is just to pressure the quarterback, like just sack the quarterback.
Yep.
Imagine that. Imagine getting paid $20 million a year just to play, kill the carrier.
Pretty nice.
Nice lifestyle, except the CTE really doesn't help. But
wow, low blow.
Just one more thing with the Cowboys, and everybody likes to rip on the Cowboys, including me sometimes. I'm a Giants fan, I have to. But the way this team is drafted is pretty insane.
Yeah.
I mean, they drafted Gallup, they drafted CeeDee Lamb, they drafted Dak, they drafted Zeke. I don't think the pick was the right one, but he's been great for them. They drafted that whole entire offensive line, including taking Zach Martin. I forget. Who did they take Zach Martin over? Who did everybody want them to take that year? Was that the Manziel year?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted them to take Manziel.
Yep.
And they did not. They took Zach Martin. What a pick. Who else have they drafted? They drafted Gregory, correct, out of Nebraska.
Lyle Collins. I don't know if you said him.
Lyle Collins. I just said the whole offensive line because that's how impressive they've been drafting that offensive line. They drafted Micah Parsons, obviously, DeMarcus Lawrence. So, Trayvon Diggs in the second round. So everybody likes to rip on the Cowboys.
You said Dak, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to rip on the Cowboys. They've done a fantastic job drafting and building through the draft.
Everybody likes to rip on Jerry Jones too. And who's the one calling those shots? Him and his son. So
they've done a fantastic job.
They have. I mean, we can praise them all we want, and I think they deserve the praise. However, this team's had a little bit of a window. It closed the past couple of years, it's open again. And they've got to win a championship these next couple of years because nobody's getting younger, and they have studs all over the field, like you just mentioned. We've talked about in the NFL, it's not hard to win. You got to start with these two things: good D line, good O line. They have that. They might have
that right now.
The best on each side of the ball, literally. It's the offensive line, I'd say, is the best. The defensive line, there's
getting
definitely
there.
They're in the conversation. But you could
the quarterback hasn't played well.
You could be built great on paper, but you need to perform. And yeah, you're right. Dak's had a past couple of weeks, had a rough go of it. And he's got to clean that up. And I think he will. I think Dak's a very talented quarterback, but this team's season is going to come down to a couple of things. It's going to come down to Dak Prescott. It's going to, of course, come down to health, just like any other team. And it's going to come down to coaching. And, I don't love the coach. Me and you have been pretty critical of Mike McCarthy. I'm still critical of him. When we talk about coordinators, I like Kellen Moore. I think he's done a good job there. But at the end of the day, your head coach is the guy calling the shots, calling the timeouts, throwing the challenge flag, whatever. And Mike McCarthy, his decisions in games, I haven't agreed with. I don't know. I imagine he's a pretty good motivator because that team's doing pretty good, but I'm not in the locker room, but Mike McCarthy's going to have a big say in the way this team season goes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the Cowboys should do whatever they can to keep Kellen Moore in that locker room because he's been impressive since he's taken over play calling, and we could see it. Zeke's playing banged up a little bit. Yep. Pollard's hurt, but he should be back by next week. So they're fine running the ball. This is a good team. Let's see how the quarterback plays, and obviously, like you said, the health. Let's move over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had a almost blew a huge lead against the Bills, and we'll talk about the Bills in a minute. But just stay with the Bucs here. They win the game in overtime. Rashad Perryman, the game-winning touchdown from Tom Brady. Listen, I am on the side of Tom Brady is the MVP. I think you disagree there. I think he is. And I think this is the team that represents the NFC in the Super Bowl.
I actually don't disagree with you. I do think Tom Brady is
really
the MVP right now. I think Aaron Rodgers, maybe if he played that game when he missed because of COVID and had a good game, maybe it's a different discussion, but Brady leads the league in passing touchdowns and passing yards, and his passer rating's only 2 points lower than Rodgers. So I'd give it to Brady right now. I got, I'm not the biggest Bucs guy because I'm a Jets fan my whole life. I've always hated Tom Brady. I respect the hell out of the guy, but I've just always hated him. And
sure.
I like to see new things in sports too. I don't like to see the same guy in the Super Bowl every single year. So I hope the Packers make it. I mean, obviously there's other teams out there besides the Bucs and the Packers that can make the Super Bowl out of the NFC, but I hope the Packers make it. The Bucs are certainly going to make a strong case for it. I mean, they they look like the Bucs of last year. Not really a lot of flaws around anywhere. At certain points, it looks like they could score at will, and that defense, it's pretty freaking good. So
playing better,
it
getting
is playing
healthier.
better. That game on Sunday with the Bills, I think if I was a Buffalo Bills fan, I'd be pretty pissed off still. I think they got robbed a little bit. That first down call, the first down call in overtime, that was brutal. Looked like Leonard Fournette was definitely short. And then the non-pass interference on Stephon Diggs.
There are a couple of holding / pass interference on Stephon Diggs that were not called.
Yeah.
But I got a problem with him, though, because all that guy does is look for the flag. He doesn't even look for the ball.
Right.
He looks for the flag.
I'm all for, letting let them play or whatever. But that's to a certain extent. I mean, he couldn't even turn around. He was restricted by the corner. But, we're not here to debate what would have happened if this penalty was thrown or whatever. I think the Bucs are legit. I mean, I don't think anybody's saying they're not. I think the Bills, I know we're talking about the NFC right now, but I think the Bills are getting a little bit of a bad rap now. People, that's like the easy take to say, oh, Buffalo's in trouble. They're 7-6. They lost, whatever. The Bills are going to be fine. They're going to make the playoffs. I think they're still a top 3, maybe 2 team in the AFC. Yeah, I'd put the top 3 or 2 on. I have to figure out when I do my power rankings. But I think the Bills are going to be fine. Josh Allen played really well on Sunday. I have confidence in Sean McDermott. There's some things that need to be cleaned up. Offensive line, they still cannot get that running game going. Still.
The thing that's concerning to me is the offensive line. Not only can they not run the ball, but they're having a hard time protecting Allen.
Yeah.
I also heard a couple of things from a couple of people beginning in this week, said to me about the owners of the Bills being impatient with Sean McDermott if they don't make the playoffs and firing him. And I cannot even waste my breath on people like that would be that impatient with one of the better young head coaches in all of football.
That would be just so
reactionary.
And ungrateful. I know that's like a weird word to use, but it really is. The Bills were one of the biggest laughing stocks in the NFL, hadn't made the playoffs in 20 years. This guy comes here, you get a franchise quarterback, you make the playoffs, you go to the AFC championship game, you win the division for the first time in 20 freaking years or whatever the hell it was. And you're going to, you're getting impatient now that you're not going to get to the Super Bowl and you're going to throw them at the door. I hope that's just a stupid rumor that somebody made up. But if that did come from the Bills, even if it's just a rumor or a threat by the Bills, you shouldn't.
The fact that people would even
be making
that
threats. Exactly.
The fact that would even be in the universe even said is unbelievable.
Yep.
The thing with the Bills for me, again, like I said, is the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Usually when teams drop off like this, Colin Cowherd had said it, you like to buy the stock in them,
right?
Like, oh, this is falling. I'm going to take the talented head coach, the talented quarterback, and the talented offensive players on that team. So I'm with you. I'm with you like halfway because they got to play better offensively on the offensive line. They have to be better. But in the AFC, it's weak. The top teams in the AFC are weak. So talent-wise, I feel like they are one of the 3 best teams still in the AFC. So we're going to see with them.
I got to say, at this point, I mean, things change. At this point, I'd be very surprised if an NFC team does not win the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I think
the Chiefs are playing very well, but it would shock me right now.
The Chiefs, I think we're getting to that point where we could say they're back. We might be at that point already. But
back.
Yeah, but I guess if the Chiefs are in it, maybe not. But who's going to be a favorite in the Super Bowl coming out of the AFC? I'm saying that line for that game, the Super Bowl. I imagine the NFC team is going to be the favorite, unless it's maybe the Chiefs and. Let's say the Bucs don't make it and it's the Cardinals, Chiefs Cardinals. Sure. Maybe the Chiefs will be favored in that game, but I feel like the favorite's going to be in the NFC no matter what. Yeah.
The thing with the Chiefs is that what's different in recent years is that their offensive line, their defense is playing at an incredibly high level. They've been one of the best defenses for the past 2 months now.
Yeah.
In the league.
which is weird. So you'd be like, oh, so the Chiefs are on top of the world, but they've had their struggles a little bit this year. But now that offense is starting to click again. So
they're rounding into form. Mahomes was making Mahomes-esque plays on Sunday against the Raiders. So they seem like they're back. And I don't know. I think if it was Chiefs Packers, I think the Chiefs would be favored by a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the Bucs will be favored no matter what. The Bucs will be the favorite no matter what.
Yeah, Bucs versus anybody, the Bucs will be favored. I think the Bucs are going to be like the third. Any team they play in the NFC, whatever, they'll be the favorite. They'll be the number one team for Vegas or whoever.
As long as they are not, which kind of stinks because I rode them throughout the whole playoffs last year because they were getting points in most games because they were on the road.
Yeah.
And they weren't the favorite, but I ended up taking them. That's going to be tough this year because I take points. All right, let's talk about the Packers very quickly before we go over to the AFC for a little bit. The Packers beat the Bears. They were down 27-21.5, 27 points. We spoke about it a little bit privately. Their special teams unit. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's laughable.
It's a problem, that blows over everybody's heads, me included. Sometimes we don't really think about special teams so much. It's whatever. You see a kickoff, you see a punt, whatever. It's not what's going on, but it's important. And they're between the onside kick, the muffed punt that if it wasn't for that penalty, would have been a muffed punt. The punt return touchdown. The Packers had a couple returns kick returns where they got to the 40-yard line. The Bears
the Bears looked like, especially in the first half, they were starting their drives at the 40-yard line or better.
Yeah. So, field position is very important. And if the Packers can't catch punts and kicks and, tackle people, then you're in some trouble. But,
the Packers are banged up. There's no doubt about it. They are banged up, and they're lucky that the injuries, and they have depth. They shouldn't say they're lucky. They have a lot of depth. So, and they built the team the right way. But we've seen, look at the Ravens. They've ran out of depth. So many guys have gotten hurt, and the Packers could get to that point. They can't put themselves at a disadvantage because their special team is giving up, kick returns, and teams are starting at the 40-yard line. That cannot happen.
I guess if I was to be concerned about a unit, the one that would concern me the least, if it was a problem, would be the special teams. I'd be like, all right, our special teams is bad. That's fixable. Right. So I guess that helps, but you got to fix it. You could say,
how good they are, though. Look at how good they are, though. The fact that their offense must be so great and their defense must be so great that they are that bad on special teams, and they're still the number one seed in the NFC. We had a football coach. Whenever I think of special teams, I always think of Coach Spino. We had a football coach, before every game in our pregame meetings. He would scream. I mean, he would get us going. He would scream, and he would pause, and he would say, "Special teams is 1/3 of the game," and that always stuck with me. It is 1/3 of the game, and 1/3 of the game right now. The Packers are not good at it.
Nope. Needs to be fixed.
And it's
a problem they've had for years.
Really?
The Packers, they've had this issue. They've gone through, I think they've fired their special teams coach, coordinator, or whatever. But no, they've had that problem for a while, and a lot of teams struggle with it. I can tell you as a Jet fan, our special teams unit has been horrible for years. It's actually not horrible this year. We have one of the best returners in the NFL somehow.
I voted for him.
Thank you. But yeah, a lot of teams struggle with it. I know the 49ers have their special teams problems. So got to be fixed because it is important.
Got to be fixed. It's 1/3 of the game, like we said. Very quickly in the AFC, the Patriots, like we said, they're going to play the Colts. They had a bye week. The bye week. I don't know if I said this last time. The bye week later in the season is nice.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a good team.
Right.
That must be nice. Now you're like, all right, like the Patriots, we're 9-4 off a tough game in Buffalo. We have the division lead, 3 weeks to go, refreshed, get as healthy as possible. Now, it's a sprint the rest of the way for the regular season, 4 more weeks. So they're going to play the Colts, who just had a bye as well. That should be a good game. I'm very interested to see what this offense looks like, coming off of the 3-pass game in Buffalo for Mac
Yeah.
Jones. I still like the Pats a lot. And this is going to be a big test against a really good offense. Let's see. One of the linebackers for the Colts actually had said, we're going to test them. We want to see Mac Jones throw the ball. We want Mac to beat us. So let's see what happens, because maybe they are going to open up the playbook a little bit more for Mac. And if they can stay with good offensive teams, because if they can do that and their defense can play well, they can be. I mean, I don't know how much more they have to prove, but I feel like they can beat anybody.
They can. I don't know how to assess the Patriots yet. Still, honestly, I still can't put my finger on it. I mean, I know they've been really good, and I want to be like, I want to buy into the hype. And I think I said it a little last week. This team could go to the Super Bowl, and I think they can. But as the weeks go on, the AFC just looks more and more wide open, and I don't know who is going to come out and be that alpha dog team. I think the Chiefs will be it. I mean, I trust Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, like you said, trust a good quarterback, trust a good coach. But the Patriots are definitely a really fundamentally sound team. They're built well all around. I am looking forward to this game on Saturday. Like you said, I think the Colts are going to make a lot of noise in the playoffs. I think they could.
I hope they get in.
If the divisional round, maybe even go crazy, get to the AFC Championship. They're a hell of a team. They've been playing really well lately, and you kind of expected that with Indianapolis because new coach. New quarterback, and you start off with a little bit of a slow start when you bring in a new quarterback, and that's exactly what they did. But ever since then, they've been playing really well. Jonathan Taylor has turned into Barry Sanders 2.0.
Are they the Bucs from last year? Could they be that team? Not saying they go and win the Super Bowl, but can they be that team that gets hot here, wins out, and makes a run in the playoffs? Can they be that? Because I'm trying to pinpoint that. And I kind of thought it was the Bills. They lose a tough game, like kind of like the Bucs did against the Chiefs last year at home. The Bucs lost that tough game to the Chiefs and then won out. Can this be like the Colts saying, "Hey, let's go. We're making a run at this division"?
Who's home in that game on Saturday?
The Colts.
Yeah, see, I think the Colts are going to win this game.
So do I. I actually like the Colts.
And you might be right. Could they be the Bucs of last year? I mean, listen, not every single year is there a repeat of the same teams and how their season goes. Not. But this is why we speculate. It's fun. You might be right. I mean, I like Frank Reich. I think he's a good coach.
Love Frank Reich.
Carson Wentz has had one of the most underrated seasons of any quarter. I mean, he's not an MVP candidate, but he's had a really good year this year. And they have the offensive line, and they have the defense. They have some really good guys on defense. But I like that take. I like that. I think the Colts could definitely make some noise. And who knows? I kind of don't want the Chiefs to be good though, because I think if you just remove the Chiefs from the AFC, it's it's insane.
Yeah, but you got no great team.
Right. But everybody's everybody has those spark, whatever. You're just waiting for them to break out. Like the Bengals. The Bengals are the most annoying team in football. I just want to throw that out there right now because I really like the Bengals. Joe Burrow, Mixon, Jamar Chase. Those are some exciting players that they have, but they'll just be great one week and then they're horrible the next week. So I'm waiting for that's why they're annoying the crap out of me. I'm waiting for them to grab on to the division and take it, but they still haven't. I think the Ravens are just going to limp
barely
to the
hang
finish
on.
line. I think the Bengals will end up winning the division, to be honest with you, because if you look at the Ravens' remaining schedule, it's brutal. I mean, they got the Packers. They have the Bengals. I think they play one more time.
Yes. They play the Steelers again.
Come on. No, they have another really tough team that I'm drawing a blank on right now. I don't know. But yeah, the Bengals, I talked about them. What was the other AFC team I was just going to bring up? The Titans, who, I don't know, I'm still not crazy about them. But, yeah, if you just took the Chiefs out of it, I think the AFC would just be absolutely absurd. And, the Chiefs are vulnerable. They've showed it this year that they're not just going to the Super Bowl.
The Ravens play the Rams. Wow, that is brutal.
There you go.
Can I read this tweet completely off topic?
Sure.
So Skip Bayless tweets, the best player on the planet was added again tonight in Brooklyn, going assassin in overtime for the COVID-rocked Nets. Nothing like Kevin Durant. You watch, Braun, ? Kevin Durant tweets, I really don't like you. At Skip Bayless. That is hilarious. I love great.
That. Skip Bayless is the worst. KD's funny on Twitter.
He is funny when he's not, going like completely psycho. Yeah, he's pretty good. What else do we got here in the NFL? Justin Herbert's a freak.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
And we were talking about it yesterday because we were talking about Zach Wilson. The dream scenario for any team when they draft a quarterback is for their rookie quarterback to come out and look like Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Like that's the guy you want your quarterback to look like. He's otherworldly.
Right.
He is so good. He's gonna be a problem for a while.
He's gonna be the best quarterback in the league one day. I mean, Mahomes is gonna give him a run for his money on that, and it's gonna be hard for for Herbert to take Mahomes' title. Is that?
I think he's gonna
when Brady and Rodgers are gone, but he's a freaking stud. He is. It must be nice being a Chargers fan. I know they haven't won a Super Bowl in a long time, but going from Phillip Rivers to Justin Herbert ain't so bad.
No,
going from one franchise quarterback to another.
Not only a franchise quarterback, but like you said, a guy that most likely is going to be the best, probably one of the two best quarterbacks, at least in the NFL,
right,
for a long time to come. Also, very quickly, 49ers, don't sleep on them. They're getting hot.
They are.
Jimmy G's playing well. The offensive line's great.
Jimmy G looked great the other day.
He did. And I mean, when you got George Kittle playing the way like he is, it's unbelievable.
He's the best tight end in the NFL. He's the best tight end in the NFL.
Yes, he is.
He is. Travis Kelce is a stud. Mark Andrews is really good, but George Kittle is his run after catch, his catch in traffic is unbelievable. He's maybe the best blocking tight end in the league.
He is.
He is a stud, that guy.
Yeah. So if
I would just like to know,
he's going.
I'm scared to know what would George Kittle do if he had Pat Mahomes. Kelce puts up big numbers, but Kittle might put even more up.
Jimmy G playing well, getting hot. Offensive line. I've seen a case being made for Trent Williams to win Offensive Player of the Year. I love it. Give it to him. He's the best offensive lineman in football, most likely. Best tackle in football.
I think I see something every single day about Pro Football Focus. Just his rating keeps going up and up. He's going to get
99.
99.9 sometime soon. Yeah, he's at 99 flat right now, which is insane.
Give it to him. I'd vote for him.
So would I. Must be nice, Dan Snyder must feel pretty good that relationship went well, and
shipped
them off. Yeah. Take the best lineman in the game. Yeah. At one of the most important positions in football. Take him.
No, for nothing, please.
We don't need him. Yeah. We got Landon. What the hell is his name? We got Eric Flowers. It's fine.
You gonna say Landon Collins?
Yeah.
Eric Flowers has been good.
He is. He actually is.
I forget where he is. He's with them or the Dolphins.
One or the other.
All right, that's enough football for today. When we get back, we are going to do our list, the top 10 first basemen in baseball, and then a little NBA when we come back after this. Here we go. The Hardline Sports Talk, episode 47. We are back, and we are going to do our top 10 first baseman in Major League Baseball. I'm going to start off today. You started off last time with the catchers. So I'm going to start with the first baseman. We ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Let her rip.
All righty. Let me pull up my little stats here. All right. So my number 10 first baseman, 10th best first baseman in baseball, Yuli Gurriel. Okay. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I like him. I'll tell you why. Yuli Gurriel hits for a high average. Now, I understand batting average isn't, to some people it means nothing. I still think batting average means something. It's not everything. It's not the first stat you should look at, but it definitely means something. He had 320 last year.
Right.
He had an 846 OPS. He got on base at a clip of 383. Okay. His WRC plus was 134. This guy's still a good player, you know, and I understand he's been overrated a little bit, but I think 10 is a very good spot for him. It might even be a little too low. Again, I understand the batting average doesn't mean as much, but I am, you know, I still like the stat.
Right. Well, listen, yeah, batting average, I think it's clear that as the years go on now, batting average, people don't evaluate as much, and I think rightfully so. But guess what? When your batting average is high, your on base is high. So, you know, it's not like it's
a good thing.
It's not like it's completely useless. You know, nobody's saying that's a common misconception with analytics now. Why people love on base percentage. People think, you know, oh, nobody cares about singles and whatever. People still care about singles. If you're getting on base, that's great. But the point is, people are saying, well, if this guy bats 320 and gets on base 35% of the time, 350 on base, but this guy's 250 and he's got a 400 on base, I'll take that guy because a single or a walk, I'm still getting to first base. That's the only reason why people say it. Yeah, I have Yuli Gurriel as my 10th best first baseman.
There we go.
In the MLB. 3.2 F/WAR last year, like you said, 134 WRC plus, 326 x WOBA. His numbers were a little inflated last year. I still put him on the list. Batting title, Gold Glove this year, which didn't really make a lot of sense because the defensive metrics they weren't bad, but they weren't great either.
He won a Gold Glove.
Yeah, Gold Gloves this year.
I didn't even know that.
So I have him number 10. Do I think he'll be on this list again after next year? No. If you look at his hard hit rate and stuff like that, he was a little lucky this year. So I think his numbers will go down a little bit, but you know, luck's a part of baseball. And I think because of the season he had last year, he deserves to be on this list.
Yeah, there we go. So that is 10. I will go with my number 9 player on this list, and that is somebody that bursted onto the scene last year, and that is Jared Walsh of the Los Angeles Angels, or the Anaheim Angels. Walsh had an 850 OPS, a weighted on base average of 357. That is WOBA, right?
Yep.
Listen, Walsh, I mean, you know about Jared Walsh. He hit that big grand slam against you guys, but he just bursted onto the scene this year. He got off to a torrid start. I mean, he was killing the baseball.
He was tearing the cover
in the first couple of months of the season. Slowed down a little bit, but still a very nice year. I was flipping between this guy and somebody else. I ended up putting Walsh 9. I really like Jared Walsh though, and we'll see. I mean, this is his first season bursting onto the scene. So let's see what he's got. He's a younger guy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
so let's see what happens. I think he could be higher on this list as we go through maybe next year.
I like Jared Walsh as a talent. Didn't make my top 10.
Okay.
My number 9 is the former Mickey Mouse AL MVP winner, and that is Jose Abreu. I have at number 9, 2.9 F/WAR last year, 126 WRC plus, 348 x WOBA. So, you know, I put Abreu on this list from a respect standpoint. That had a lot to do with it. You know, he's been a really good hitter in the big leagues for a long time now. A little underrated, honestly, as a hitter. You know, you don't really talk about him much, but always has his OPS in the 850s and even a little higher. So Abreu is a little more of a traditionalist player. You know, he's a lot of RBI, stuff like that. But I think him on this spot at this spot is pretty good. Definitely wouldn't put him anywhere higher. I think if anything, I'd lower him. Didn't have the best year last year. Not bad though. Like I said, around a 3 WAR. I think that's a pretty good spot for him. I think he's going to regress. He's getting up there in age now. He was old in the first place as a rookie coming over from, I forgot where he came from, but yeah, Jose Abreu.
I forget where he came from too, actually.
Cuba. Was it Cuba? I don't remember.
It might have been.
I remember when he came over, though. That was like a big deal. He was a big international.
Really?
Agent. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Not like Otani, Tanaka level, but big.
All right.
34 he is. He'll start the year at 35.
He is up there in age, right? He didn't make my list.
Yuli Gurriel, too.
I knew Gurriel was.
He's older than that. Gurriel's like 37, 38.
Yeah. I remember when he came into the league. I remember that was like a big thing.
Yeah.
He came in at like 31, 32.
Yeah.
I wanted the Mets to get him really badly. He came in as a third baseman too, right?
Yeah. 32 years old.
Yeah.
First full
All right.
season wasn't until 2017. Yeah. Well,
All right. Number 8. And I have a feeling this is the guy that's higher on your list, the one you told me before that's higher on your list than probably me.
I think you're gonna be right. No.
I don't see how it's anybody else. CJ Crone.
No.
Is it?
Nope.
Wow, really?
CJ Crone did not make my list.
Then there's somebody that's not on my list.
Yeah.
CJ Crone. He played for the Colorado Rockies last year, so he benefited from Coors Field, but he's been very underrated, for the past, for a while now. I think 7 years or something. He's got like a top 5 OPS out of all first basemen.
Mm-hmm.
He only had a 2.3 WAR last year. His defense is not great at all. He had a 127 WRC plus. He had a 905 OPS. So listen, I understand the Coors Field thing, but he had 28 home runs in 142 games. I like Crone. He deserved to make the list. He's underrated, and I like him here at 8. I was flip-flopping between him and Walsh at 8 and 9.
Yeah, I thought about CJ Crone for a little bit. You do have the Coors Field effect. The OPS plus is 130, pretty good, but hasn't really has a great record, a track record. The last full season before that was 2019, 780 OPS. So I get putting him on the list. 8's a little high for me. I don't know if I put him that high, but he didn't make my list. My number 8.
Is this the guy?
No. Somebody near and dear to your heart. I have Pete Alonso as the 8th best first baseman in baseball. 3.0 F WAR last year, 133 WRC plus, 376 x WOBA. The defense was a little better last year for Pete. Still has a long way to go. Obviously, when we're talking about raw power, he's second to a few list of guys in the MLB. Really has great pop in his bat. But I think you could agree with this. I think Mets fans are waiting for Pete Alonso to really turn into that true great hitter. We're talking 950 OPS, get that on base up, get the average up a little bit, get the slugging up. 863 OPS last year, 134 OPS plus. I think this is a good spot for Pete. You might disagree, but that's where I have him.
I got him at 7. He had 37 home runs last year. He played hurt for a couple of weeks, got hit in the hand, and he just didn't tell anybody. And then finally they were like, he started playing like crap, and it finally came up. He was on the IL for about a week. Listen, he's my favorite offensive player, right now for the New York Mets. I love him. I really do. I love him. But you're right. I'd like to see the OPS a little higher, the on base. He had a 519 slugging percentage last year, which was pretty good. For a while, he was the Mets' best offensive player last year, and for a while he was carrying the team. So you'd like to see the home runs a little up. You'd like to see the on base. He had 262, which is not terrible. I'll take it, but I'm excited to see. You're right. I'm excited to see what Pete is going to do, next year and for years to come. He's going to be, I think, 950 OPS. I don't know, 900, 920 guy. I definitely see that, him being the Mets' probably best offensive player for a while.
Right. All right. So you had Pete 7. My number 7.
I know who the guy is now. I know who the guy is after looking at the list.
My number 7 is Joey Vado. I have him at 7. I think you have him a little higher. And Joey Votto had a little blast in the past this past year. Really kind of looked like he was 27 again and was putting up. I think he finished the year 940 OPS, something like that. 3.6 F WAR, 140 WRC plus, 406 x WOBA. He was one of the best defensive first basemen in the MLB too for a long time. Defense has tailed off a little bit, but yeah, I think, if this was Joey Votto a couple years ago and he was doing this year after year, I'd obviously have him higher on the list, but because of the past couple years, I like him at that spot at 7. And we'll see if he could do it again this year.
Yeah. A little higher than Joey Votto. I was almost a little too high on Joey Votto, but I chilled out. So that was 7, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So my number 6 is Paul Goldschmidt of the St. Louis Cardinals. Paul Goldschmidt's always been a little underrated, but he's a very solid player, a very solid first baseman, especially defensively. But he had a 4.9 WAR last year, 31 home runs, 99 RBIs. Nobody cares about RBIs anymore. I still like RBIs. A 138, a 138 WRC plus, slugged 519. I mean, he was very, very good for the St. Louis Cardinals. One of probably their best offensive player last year. I don't think that. No, yeah, he was.
Tyler O'Neill. Come on.
Oh, right. Tyler O'Neill actually might have been the best offensive player. I'd have to look. But listen, I'm always a big fan of Paul Goldschmidt. And again, defensively, he's always pretty solid. And he was solid again yet last year. And, there's a lot of great first basemen. So 6 might not, it's high. No, he's 6, right, but he's very good.
All right. Here's my grand reveal of the guy that you don't have on your list. And I honestly considered putting him higher, but I was like, no, I'm getting too crazy here. I got Brandon Belt of the San Francisco Giants as my number 6 first baseman in the MLB.
That's not who I was going to guess.
If you look, who is it then?
I was guessing Ty France.
Oh God, no. If you look at this guy's numbers,
Ty France.
No, I considered him. If you look at Brandon Belt's numbers so he played 97 games this year, was having a great year, but unfortunately got cut short. He had some injuries. So then if you combine that with 2020, where he played 57 games over his last 148 games, that's a 5.2 WAR. He had a 158 WRC plus last year, a 406 xWOBA. I think his OPS plus, I looked it up before. I believe it was like 160 last year.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that.
You're right about that.
Which is crazy because, look at the ballpark he's playing in. First of all, that's not the best ballpark to play in. He had 29 home runs in 97 games last year. That's over a 40 home run season easily if you scale that over 162 games. So Brandon Belt, 975 OPS last year, 1,015 in 2020. I love this guy. One of the most underrated players in the MLB. I got him there.
Yeah. That might have been a miss by me. Not going to lie to you.
I think so.
I mean, as I'm going through, Baseball Reference and Fangraphs, I don't see his name anywhere. But he did miss a lot of time last year, to my credit. So, okay. Number 5. I'm going to have to argue this one. I have Joey Vado. I wanted to put Joey Vado ahead of Freddie Freeman, but I couldn't do it.
That's
Joey Votto Joey Votto last season, a 140 WRC plus, a 3.6 WAR, not as high, a 319 weighted on base average. I mean, he was great last year. Great. He got on base at, his on base percentage was 375. He slugged 563. He had 36 home runs. I really like Joey Votto, and I was going through it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm saying, is Joey Votto a Hall of Famer? Joey Votto is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Not even close.
Joey Votto might be like a top 50 player of all time.
He's so underrated.
I believe his OPS, I believe, is like top 20 ever, which when you think about that, that's like, holy crap. He's above some guys that you're going to be like, what? He's above him? I've looked at the list before and it's crazy.
He's massively underrated all time. And even this year, to be honest with you, last season, I mean,
he looked really good. So my number 5 is Paul Goldschmidt, who, you said before, Paul Goldschmidt had a really good year last year. Definitely his best year since he's been with St. Louis.
Definitely.
So really like Paul Goldschmidt. I guess you could say he was a little disappointing once he got to St. Louis, and his last year with Arizona too, he was tailing off a little bit because he was I think he should have won the MVP that year when McCutcheon won it. I remember that 2014 or whatever. Paul Goldschmidt's been one of the best players in the MLB over, an 8-year period, and he has one of the best gloves at the position. So I'm going with my boy Goldie at 5.
You like Goldie. I feel like you're a big Freddie Freeman guy, but Goldie's always been your guy too.
Yeah. I like first baseman. I don't know why. I guess it's because I'm a big guy and I've played first base. I don't know. It's weird.
Big guy. Big guy.
Big guy.
All right. Number 4, I've got your boy, your favorite non-Yankee, Freddie Freeman. I mean, do I even have to explain it? I mean, first of all, he's a fantastic human being.
Yeah.
I mean, he is I can't believe I'm saying this. He's one of my favorite players now on the Mets, and he plays on one of my 2 least favorite teams in all of baseball. How can you not love the guy?
He's a stud.
He's unbelievable. He had let me do quick math here. He had about a 900 OPS last year, a little less, 135 WRC plus and 4.5 F/WAR. Again, not he's got a reliable glove at first base. He hits for a higher average. He had 300 last year. He was the MVP in the shortened season. I love Freddie Freeman, and number 4, might seem a little high on the list, or low on the list, I should say, but it's perfectly rated there. He's that good, but there are 3 first basemen better than him.
There are. I have Freddie Freeman 4 as well. Don't really have to go over the numbers. You just explained it. Yeah. Love him. Favorite player in the MLB. Wanted to put him higher. Couldn't though. Unfortunately, little overrated, and I hate to say it, but I'm not knocking him. I'd want to have him on my team. He's an absolute stud, but for some reason, there's this conception around him that he's like a really good defensive first baseman, and that's not really true because he isn't. So, that's really what drags him down. When we talk about the WAR numbers, they're a little lower than you think because you're like, well, if this guy's a great defender and his offensive numbers are so good, why is his WAR not as high? And, that's exactly what happens. His WAR isn't high because of his defense. So I like Freddie at number 4. Unfortunately, there are 3 better first basemen than him, though.
Don't you cry about it. All right, number 3, I've got Max Muncie. Mm-hmm. For a while, Max Muncie looked like he was, right. I mean, he was right involved in the NL MVP race, but he ended up getting hurt in 144 games. Last year, he had 36 home runs. He slugged at an impressive 527, a WRC plus of 140, and his F/WAR was 4.9.
Yeah.
He's played all over. He played mainly first base last year. Listen, a very underrated player.
He is.
And a fantastic offensive player. He gives them the flexibility. I mean, he could play second base. If the Braves want to, bring it into the lefty bat and go get Freddie Freeman, they can move Muncie over to second base.
Yeah.
Defensively, it might not be that great, but if they want to replace Seager's bat, they can go get Freeman because of Muncie's flexibility. But when he's playing first, I mean, we saw last year, he was very dominant at the plate.
Yeah, he's like a modern day, analytics person's dream because he's gets on base. Might be the best defensive first baseman in the MLB. His defensive metrics last year were phenomenal. I have a feeling that me and yours top 4 is exactly the same because I have Max Muncie at number 3.
I was hoping you went Muncie at 2.
Yeah, I got him number 3. The move I made right before the show was I had him 4 and I had Freeman ahead of him, but then I was looking at it. I was like, no, I can't do that. I like Muncie at 3. Like I said, really good player, gets on base a ton, very good glove. I don't think I need to explain it much more, honestly.
Yeah. And you want to explain Matt Olson, you can. Matt Olson's 2 on my list, so he's 2 on yours too. So if you want to do the Matt Olson explanation.
Yeah, Matt Olson, hopefully his name comes up a little more on the podcast when he's wearing pinstripes. That'd be nice. Number 2 first baseman in the league. Another guy who's a wizard with the glove. Really good. Has the second highest WAR on this list at 5 last year. 146 WRC plus. I mean, the numbers are just outstanding. still a young guy too, has a lot of career ahead of him. And he's really evolved as a player, honestly, because when he first came up, he was one of those low average, swing for the fences guys, but he's really molded himself into just a really good overall player. I remember he was one of those guys when he came up, I think it was like 3 years ago or whatever, where he played like 70 games, but he hit like 24 home runs in those 70 games. And he was like flying under the radar. He had a ton of pop. And, it ended up working out.
Yeah. Matt Olson, a potential Yankee when the stupid lockout is over. We will see, but that should definitely be something there. And they are interested. So we'll see what happens. He's going to be on the mood.
What? I was right about the 24 home runs. He did it in 59 games.
Oh my! I think I remember this now.
189 at bats. He had 24 home runs. Had 1,003 OPS.
What's that? What's that over 160?
All right. So Matt Olson played 156 games this year. He had 565 at bats. So let's just calculate that real quick. So 24 divided by 189 times 565. 71.7. He would hit 72 home runs.
Wow.
Yeah.
He would have came close to the record.
Yeah, that's insane.
He wouldn't have broke it though.
No, still. Must be nice, injecting anything into your system, Barry Bonds.
Okay. All right. And number one, pretty clear. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Luke Voigt, yeah. Well, what?
No. Do we even have to go over it? I mean, this guy's season last year, we spoke about it a lot, how it kind of sucked that his season was going to go under the radar because of Shohei Ohtani. But in any other season, he is a unanimous MVP.
Yeah.
With his offensive numbers, 48 home runs, 401 on base percentage. He had a 1,000 OPS. A 166 WRC plus. His F WAR was 6.7. It's unbelievable season from Vlad. And listen, I hope he can repeat this because he's an exciting player and he's scary at bat.
Yeah, runaway number one here. Maybe one of the most obvious number ones we're gonna have in the entire segments that we do. Yeah. You know what I wasn't even thinking of? I guess we're going to do designated hitters or something, but like when's Ohtani going to come up? Anyways, yeah, Vlad number one. Unfortunately, he plays in the AL East. That's great. We have Vlad Jr. and on top of that, Wander Franco. Now
I really don't want to hear it.
Yeah. So
Bryce Harper, Ronald Acuna Jr., Juan Soto. Please, I don't want to hear it.
Well, yeah, you know how great that division was last year. So,
yeah, you're right. The last two World Series champions out of it in a full season.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
the Braves. Everybody knew they were the best team in the MLB last year. Anyways, all right. I think we explained enough. Everybody knows how good Vlad Guerrero Jr. is. I don't think anyone wants me to sit here and go on about him. So to recap, my top 10: Yuli Gurriel, Jose Abreu, Pete Alonso, Joey Votto, Brandon Belt, Paul Goldschmidt, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncie, Matt Olson, Vlad Guerrero Jr.
And disrespectful to my boy Pete Alonso, by the way. Kidding. All right, here we go. 10, Yuli Gurriel, Jared Walsh, CJ Crone. Is it Crone or Crone? Crone. Pete Alonso, Paul Goldschmidt, Joey Vado, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncie, Matt Olson, and Vlad Jr. That's the top 10 first baseman. Next one, we're doing second base next time.
Yep.
Oh, very nice. So we'll have Jeff McNeil at 1, obviously, and we'll go from there. All right, very quickly in the NBA, Steph Curry broke Ray Allen's record for most three-pointers made, a very impressive record since he did it in 500 less games.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Steph Curry fan. I've said on multiple occasions and got heat for it that I think he has passed Magic Johnson as the best point guard ever. And now people are starting to realize, okay, he's probably going to do it. No, to me, the best point guard ever, if I can have one to play on my team, it is Steph Curry. And I mean, he's an unbelievable talent and good for him. I mean, he seems like a great guy, and it couldn't happen to a better guy.
I mean, he's got to be top 5 all time at this point. I mean,
He's getting there.
yes. I mean, if we're saying he's better than Magic too, and I think I agree with you there. I think he is. The guy literally just transcended the game. The 3-point shot now is even more. It's the most popular thing. It's the most popular it has ever been in the history of the NBA. You don't see guys pulling up from 35 feet, 10, 15 years ago as much as you do now because of Steph Curry. The guy's won multiple MVPs, unanimous MVPs, got multiple championships. Yeah, no doubt. Absolute stud. Couldn't happen. He's a great guy. The Warriors, man, they're back. They are back in a big way. They're the best team in the NBA. I know the Suns have a little bit better of a record than them, but I mean, the last time they met, the Warriors beat them. The Warriors are a force to be reckoned with again.
Yeah, it's them and the Suns right now in the West and just in the whole league in general. I mean, the Nets, listen, they're playing well. Kevin Durant had an incredibly impressive performance today, a 35-point triple-double against the Raptors, and they only had 8 guys.
50 the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored 50 on Sunday. I asked this question to a few people today. I said, would you rather Kevin Durant or Steph Curry right now? And there's no wrong answer. I mean, if you tell me you want Kevin Durant, I say I want Steph Curry. It doesn't matter. You're getting two of
the best scorers of all time. Like,
yeah. Imagine if you team those guys up.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine?
That'd be crazy. I wish we got to see more of that, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw enough just because they were so good. Nobody was going to beat them.
Nah.
Nobody was going to beat them. So I was,
the Raptors did. And why? Because of injuries. That doesn't
count.
Yeah.
I mean, good for the Raptors, but
good. Right. I think everyone
asterisks.
A bit of a fluke.
Asterisks. The New York Knicks are, kind of a problem, but they're not good. They're not a good basketball team. No. They're just not. And I think last year had a lot to do with it because you played in front of empty arenas and, you were a new team. You were a gritty team that played defense. You had a lot of young guys that bought in, guys on 1-year contracts that bought in. And now you signed Evan Fournier, who was a turnstile on defense.
Yeah.
And offensively, he hasn't been great. You bring in Kemba Walker, which again, we thought for whatever reason when you replaced Reggie Bullock with Evan Fournier and you replaced Alfred Payton with Kemba Walker, oh my God, the offense, but that's not what the Knicks were built on. Yes, they needed better offensive players, but you had guys really playing defense, playing hard, and that was the identity of the team. And it's not the identity of the team right now, and that's why they're losing games.
It's not, and I'll tell you maybe the biggest problem they have is their new 4-year, $117 million man or whatever it is, Julius Randle, has been playing horrible. I mean, if you look at his season totals now, the guy's averaging 19 points per game, shooting 42% from the field. Those are not numbers that you would want after the contract that you gave him. And, when you look at his season last year compared to this one, his points are down by 5 a game. Thank you, Basketball Reference, for an advertisement in the middle of me reading it.
No, please.
And his 3-point percentage is down 9%. I mean, he shot 41% from 3 last year. So
he thinks he's Steph Curry shooting 3. I don't know why he thinks he can do this.
I don't know. So the Knicks are in trouble, man, because we're not in November anymore. We're not in October. This is, we're starting to get into the middle of the season. Really, we're almost 30 games in. And you're 12-14 or 12-16. What is it?
I think so. 13 and
12
16,
and 16. 12th in the Eastern Conference. You're on a 4-game losing streak. You're 2-8 in your last 10. So
not good at home.
No, not good.
Far from Bing Bong.
No. Oh God. That might have cursed them. And that's another thing. That thing, the side talk was hilarious before the Bing Bong. All that stuff was awesome.
Yeah.
The Bing Bong thing blew up, and then the Joe Byron and all that stuff. And it's funny. But now it's the most annoying thing. When I hear that video, I want to throw my phone through a wall. Because how many times How many
It's
times? do I have to hear it?
overkill, but it's funny. I love it.
I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it.
I love it. I love. No, you know what I really like? These girls that are going out there and looking for him, and they found the
Right.
the Joe Byron guy, and they're
Yeah.
taking videos with him. It's hilarious. It's great. They do a good job, those kids. Side Talk NY.
No, they do.
The two NY, I think NYU or something like that.
Yeah.
Some school in the city.
The kid, the one of them's he started when he was like 15 or something.
Yeah, it's been around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They're gonna have a lot of money. I'm sure they already do.
yeah, definitely. And I think that's it. I mean, I think we got through everything.
Yep. Well, the Nets,
Yeah.
we just got to talk about the Nets for a little bit. Kyrie might be coming back.
Right. There we go.
Who knows about that? I hope so. Do I hope so? I really don't want to see the Nets do anything, honestly. I love KD, but I'm not the biggest Harden guy. I'm not Kyrie, I don't like. So but
They're playing well.
I guess
They're
for
playing
KD,
very well.
I'll root for him. They are playing well. Yeah. Well, you think are you buying into it? Do you think he's coming back?
Yes. I think he'll come back.
When?
I think he realized that his life right now kind of sucks because he's not doing what he was meant, to do. I mean, no offense, Kyrie, you weren't put on this planet to be some, motivational guy, this, activist. You were not put on this planet to do that. You were put on this planet to play basketball, and you're very good at it. Go on the floor, go back, and hit it, KD.
Don't start walking into shut up and dribble territory.
No, I'm not. But listen, he is a fantastic player. He's very close with Kevin Durant. And I feel like Kevin Durant is going to end up convincing him to come back. They've been talking a lot more now. So I think he'll be back.
Yeah, I think he will too. Yeah, I mean, I think for Kyrie, it's got to come to a point where, you believe in something, believe in it. But, at one point, this is your profession. And if you got to bite the bullet on something and come back, and I know he cares passionately about the vaccines or whatnot, but at the same time, this is your profession. You come to the NBA, you want to win championships. So at some point, I'm sure he's going to come to that realization and be like, all right, enough is enough.
I mean, let's get political, but I thought, anybody that didn't get the shot, and lost their job because of it, I think those people are crazy. But that's just my opinion.
So, it is what it is. I think he will come back, and for the game of basketball, I think it'll be a good thing. I think everybody wants to see the Nets in full swing. We saw it for a glimpse last year, but still, we want to see the Nets full strength, everybody, this big three, and see what they can do.
I completely agree. And maybe we are getting to that point very soon, but we are at the point here where we are done. We've gotten through everything, and it is late.
It is late.
We will talk to you guys next week. Please look at our social media pages, and we are going to have our power rankings up on Instagram for the NFL for right before week 15. So we will talk to you guys next time.
Yep.